So welcome everybody. It's so nice to see you all. Wait a moment, I will change it a little bit so I can see you all and I don't see myself too much. Hi. Hmm. So today we will talk a little bit about responsivity. And we live in a responsive universe on all levels. We respond to each other and the environment, the planet, the animals, the trees, the stones, even the universe is responsive. Basically, it's a responsive universe. And how does that work? So we all know a situation in which we felt that a person is loving us. So love is coming towards us and we feel the love and there's an automatic response. Our heart opens as well. Somebody is angry with you or is just angry, and we are responsive, and automatically there is this movement into anger. So how is this working? Why are we responsive? What exactly is happening? So if we go to the first example, you know that we feel loved and our heart opens and love is moving through us as well towards the other person. So what is happening is there is this moment that we become conscious of the love of the other person. And our consciousness gets loaded with the non-dual quality of love. And the two non-dual qualities start to meet each other. Or our conscious awareness is becoming aware or conscious of a certain vibration. And we have the tendency to respond in the same vibration. So when we talk about a responsive universe, we talk basically about a conscious universe or a conscious aware universe. It's consciousness meeting consciousness. So when we walk outside in the street of our village or city and we see a dog, we can think, okay, that's a dog. And that's it. We don't really meet the dog. But when we are curious about the dog, or we think, oh, that is a really cute dog, and we reach out with our conscious awareness, then the dog will respond to us. It will bite, bark, or wiggle its tail and tries to come towards us, depending on how the dog is perceiving us and what is the situation of the dog in that moment. But there is a response. So when we walk in nature, in between the trees, then we are responsive to nature. And if you're sensitive, you can feel that nature is responsive to you as well. The trees are greeting you. There is a blend taking place of what is moving through the trees towards you and what is moving from you towards the trees. So this responsivity which is there, kind of helps us in a way to recognize in the depth a situation which is always there. So much connected with the non-dual quality of unity. When we're responsive, there is a blend taking place. A blend between us and whatever is there in the environment. And so in this blend, wholeness is coming forward, or meeting is coming forward, connection is coming forward. Unity is coming forward. We start to vibrate in the same vibration. This is where we meet each other. But it goes deeper, it goes further. So if we see a stone and we really bring our conscious awareness towards a stone, the stone is responding, responsive to our conscious awareness. It will reflect its consciousness back towards us. In this, we can feel the essence of the stone, the atmosphere of the stone, and sometimes the information which is contained in the stone, the past, what the stone witnessed through his long life. Again, there is a blend which is possible on a whole lot of different levels. So, of course, we know that some people are working with precious stones. And of course, when we look to precious stones, like rose quartz or aquamarine, when we look at this, these stones have a different vibration. And we can recognize this vibration. And this vibration can be wholesome to us. Why? Because we are responsive to the stone and the stone is responsive to us. We start to move with the same vibration, and this vibration can be wholesome, can be healing. The same with plants, the same with animals, and the same with human beings, with the planet, the ocean, nature, the universe. Everything is responding to each other. Then when we look in another way to this responsivity, so when we look to it, in the response is a recognition, a deep recognition. Recognition of the love which is expressed to us, or recognition of the vibration of the stone, a recognition of the nature. And this recognition is this moment when connection is taking place, which you are not always aware of joy. In recognition, there is always joy. And this joy connected with the recognition is so much connected with the recognition that we are one, that we're all part of each other, that everything lives in everything, that everything is coming from the same source. So can it be that when you are in a state of upliftment or maybe a moment of enlightenment, that you feel that everything around you is alive. That everything is reflecting light, life, love, care towards you. Or whatever at that moment is the vibration we are in. Very deep experience of unity, of oneness, of wholeness. And of course, I'm now talking about outside ourselves. But the same also counts for inside ourselves. We can be responsive to our physical body, responsive to our big toe. We can be responsive to the feeling which is in our intestines. But we can also ignore it or refuse to feel it, refuse to be part of, or to turn it around. Because, if we refuse our intestines, we are not part of our intestines. And of course, then the intestines are not part of us. And that's important to understand because our intestines also have their own consciousness, their own conscious awareness. Each cell of our body has its own life. A life which is dependent on the whole, but it has its own life. And it is responsive to the whole. So how would it be, if cells would not be responsive to the whole anymore? It would be utterly chaos. They couldn't work together. They wouldn't feel the need of the whole anymore. And at the same time, what we call we, or us, or I, so often is not responsive to the physical body, not responsive to the cells, not responsive to the emotions, not responsive to feelings. There is this fragmentation going on inside ourselves, in which we refuse parts of ourselves. So there's a separation taking place. Our conscious awareness becomes an island, separated. The I becomes the separate I, because so often we place the I in the conscious awareness, what we are conscious of. I see you. I feel a pain in my big toe. I don't want to feel this pain. I refuse to be responsive to this pain. And the moment that there is this kind of separation taking place between us and ourselves, or parts of ourselves, between us and the world around ourselves, vulnerability will come forward. We feel vulnerable in the world. It's so beautiful because, this is also the story of Adam and Eve in paradise, where everything is one in a way, where there is a responsivity between everything. Also between Adam and Eve and the snake. who kind of tells them, maybe you should eat this apple. Also, the apple is responsive, and we are responsive to the apple. But then, what is happening is that we kind of, move out of the unity which is there. So we become less responsive. And Adam and Eve, they cover their, how do you say it, sexual parts. As a sign of vulnerability, being different, being separate, a separate I. And there is a beauty in that as well, because, why would it be the sexual parts which are covered? Why would we cover that parts of our body? Why not the heart? Why don't put a big, thick leaf on the heart? Why there? Why sexuality? So when we look into this, the sexuality, of course, is a way to find unity. It's very responsive. On the sexual level, we are very responsive to each other. And it's one of the most vulnerable parts of us human beings. One of the most difficult parts. One of the parts we are most in a struggle with. We, in a way, most don't want to feel, don't want to experience too much, only when it's in the right time and at the right moment, when it fits. But when it doesn't fit, it brings a lot of stress, a lot of difficulty. This is where the mind is deciding the most what is right and what is not right, how it should be, what we should feel, what we should experience, when we should experience, how we should experience. And partly because this is also the meeting position between male and female inside us. The essence of responsivity is this meeting position, the meeting position between push and pull, where push and pull become one, the giving and receiving. So responsivity is inside ourselves, around ourselves. And the more we're able to kind of be in this quality of responsivity, which is not something we do consciously. It's our consciousness reacting. It's something which is happening through us by itself. So our consciousness doesn't need to interfere with it. It doesn't need to refuse or to grasp. This is nice. This I want to hold on to. This has to be there forever. Or this I don't want. It's too difficult. It's too painful. If we can just allow our own responsivity to be there by itself. Responsivity to the experience which is coming forward. Because when consciousness is meeting consciousness, experience is triggered. Experience will come forward. And the experience has its own circle, its own way. If we see something which is very horrible, or we are confronted with something which is horrible, and there is a refusal, we don't want to respond to it, we don't want to feel it, we don't want to experience it. The natural responsivity is kind of blocked. And we become vulnerable. We become vulnerable in that situation. Well, the natural responsivity will open up all the resources which are there. Will maybe bring forward compassion. Will bring forward maybe insight. Will bring forward maybe care, maybe love. Everything is possible. Because our system will respond at that moment as is needed in the moment from us, as part of the whole. That's how we hope that our cells will respond to the whole of our body. The responsivity is so much connected also with being alive. Allow yourself to be alive. And not in the way I am alive and I decide what will happen in my life. I decide what I will feel and I'm in control of everything. That's not really being alive. That's being in a deep fight with life itself. Because when we look to responsivity, it's all about life. Life is responsive to life. It's about experience. It's about being. Being responsive. We cannot be without being responsive. I am. And then we hold on to the I am, the feeling of I am, the isness. And the isness is a certain feeling. It has a certain vibration. And we hold on to this vibration, and nothing will disturb this vibration of isness. We hold on to it. There is no movement. This is the difficulty, because the moment we move into isness, we start to become responsive. It's not the same. It's changing all the time. And that's making us a little bit kind of, fearful sometimes, because, who are we then and what are we? What will move through us? We have no idea. Maybe everything which is bad inside us will kind of start to become responsive, will come out. We will become monsters. And so often in the work with people, and especially when you look more deeply into anger and rage issues, there is this big, big fear. A fear which I think is not realistic at all, but This fear, if I let go of my rage, there is such a rage in me. If I would let go of my rage, it will be the end of this world. It will be unbearable for everybody around me. So I cannot be responsive. I cannot let that go. I cannot let it come to the surface because it will destroy everything. Everything will be kaput. So when you listen to this, so there is a message in it. There is a message in it what the little child got. If I get angry, something will be broken. Maybe mother couldn't handle it. Maybe it was too much if you were angry or disappointed. It's not allowed. So we create a fear for our anger in how the world is reacting on our anger. With sometimes this belief that if we get angry, if we get into a rage, everything will be destroyed. This is the end of it. So there's a whole area where we cannot be responsive. But if there is no anger allowed, forgiveness is not possible. When there is not anger allowed, so often we have a difficulty with fear because it becomes very difficult to put borders or to protect. So life becomes more unsafe. So we start to separate. We start to separate from the parts of ourselves which we perceive as not okay, as bad. Which all have their own function, which all live in their own responsive way, but it never stops with anger. Anger will lead to forgiveness. We cannot forgive if we are not angry. We can do as if we forgive, but it's not a real forgiveness. We cannot be if part of us is not welcome. So when we are responsive, it's not only that anger sometimes gets triggered, but at the same time, all the other layers of ourselves can get triggered as well. Anger get triggered. The mind is maybe triggered to give insight or to be more clear, to get clarity. The heart is triggered. So many layers are triggered at the same time, and so many layers are responsive at the same time. And this starts a whole process of experience and maybe expression of that experience, which will lead by itself to harmony, to wholeness. to oneness, to unity. Because this is really what it is about in the depth. And we all know that. We all know that sometimes, when we are in a couple or we're with friends or with family, that sometimes we need a quarrel to get closer. Sometimes we need to fight a little bit. We need some anger to open up, to reconnect, to find each other again. So this bad part inside ourselves, when we really look into it, it's not that bad. It's not that bad when it can be responsive, because if it's responsive, it's precise. It becomes destructive the moment that we give the other the blame for us to get angry. So we have to kill the other person because he made us angry and we don't want to be angry. He made us into this monster. And we don't want to be this monster. We refuse to be responsive on this area. So we will refuse the other, instead of to start to connect, to open up, to deepen. So responsivity is a very, very important, we say this with all qualities, and beautiful quality. It's something, like all qualities, which is unconditional. It happens by itself. It's like an engine between all qualities. All qualities are responsive. That's a big one, an important one. And it opens us up, if we can move with it, to the depth of experience of life. And maybe this is why we are here, to experience life to the depth. Okay. I keep it like this. We have a little 5-minute break, and after 5 minutes, there will be a beautiful guided meditation from Georgi. See you in 5 minutes.
Hey, so welcome back, everybody. Can you hear me well? Yes, good. Yay. All right, so let's get ready to meditate. The non-dual responsivity in us greets the non-dual responsivity in you. So let's find a comfortable position, which already requires a lot of responsibility, a truckload, a truckload of responsivity to feel, to sense comfort. To bring the sense of comfort to the space in the room, the space around the body, the space within the body. Find a way in which your body is supported. Giving the gift of naturalness to the body position, the movement of the body, the rhythm of the breathing, or the lack of rhythm to the breathing. Just letting it do whatever it wants to do. I'd like you to bring your attention to your breathing. And with each in-breath, just taking in the blessing of being alive, the permission to be alive. And with each out-breath, releasing any stress that wants to release now. Let this breathing bring you on a pathway deeper into yourself and deeper down into the body. With the in-breath, allowing the blessing of being here now alive. And with the out-breath, releasing anything from the past which wants to release. The breath to lead us into an even deeper relaxation, into being here now, for real in this body, in this physical dimension. As with the in-breath, we allow the fresh blessing of being alive right here, right now. And with the out breath, releasing any old sensations of stress that want to release here now. Perhaps you could continue breathing like this in the background, breathing in the present moment and releasing the past with the out breath, even when you're no longer thinking about it. So it's happening all by itself now. To open up the depth of feeling of how it is to be here, right now, in this meditation, as you, as the uniqueness of you. Your whole experience now become responsive to these unique ingredients of yourself, that intimate sense of you, the presence of you, in and around this body right here in this moment. How does your physical body respond to the presence of you? Seeing how the physical body is responsive to our being here now, present, for real. And perhaps we can notice how our essence, our presence, our felt sense of being is responsive to the physical body now. As we are becoming aware of this responsivity, this field of responsivity, maybe we can check if also the awareness is responsive. Any responsivity within our awareness. And perhaps we are also aware of this awareness. Relaxing into that awareness in which responsivity emerges, where there is this play of responsivity. Maybe it's far away, this play of responsivity, in the distant past, or in the far future. And maybe it's right here, right now, in a detail of the body. Maybe this responsivity is right here, right now, in a corner of the body, up close, unfiltered, unplugged. In such a way that it's free to be responsive to the far future. Responsive to the distant past. Just as there is this freedom in this responsivity, right here, right now, unfiltered, free. Let yourself drop into the awareness that allows wider, which allows it. Knowing that you are so safe, so safe, so very safe in this deep space inside yourself. I'd like you to recall a time or a situation from somewhere in time where you feel very vulnerable. We're recalling a situation from past, present, or future where we have a critical sense of vulnerability. And as you recall this situation, I'd like you to drop with your consciousness into the bases of the body, into the bones and tendons and muscles of the body, the bases of the body where you feel the body is supported. And perhaps you could perceive from there this situation. Notice the responsivity moving through the bases of the body to this situation which is here now of vulnerability. How do your muscles respond to this vulnerability, to this situation? How are your bones responding? What responsivity is within your bones or inside your bones? As you feel yourself in this situation. To other kinds of physical sensations are part of the responsivity to this situation, to this vulnerability. Does this situation of vulnerability have a particular smell or scent? If it had a scent or a smell, what would that be? So you can allow the responsivity to bring the body to life within this situation. There's something which is being refused in this situation. Open your sensitivity to see and find out what is being refused in this situation. Can you allow that refusal to come to life? To have a life of its own? Letting it be responsible. Relax even deeper still into the awareness behind it all. Maybe you can allow the responsivity to be there, informing both refusal and vulnerability. As the situation reveals something you never noticed before. Responsivity of the body and of the whole system to this which you have never noticed before. Like you to let yourself be drawn or attracted towards just one aspect of this situation, one person or one moment or one expression on a face, one image, one sound, or one flavor. Let yourself be attracted to just one part of the situation, being pulled in now. Hold it, hold it, deepen it. I'd like you to make a feeling connection from the heart towards this one element. Making a heart connection from the heart, from the chest area, to this part of the situation. Let the heart be responsive to what is being felt. Let the feeling be responsive. You can allow the situation to be responsive to the feeling. This awakening of responsivity is moving through the heart, to the heart, to the heart. Being wherever it needs to be. There's something which is especially vulnerable now in this situation. Let yourself be responsive to this sense of vulnerability. There's something from the point of view of the heart which is being refused in this situation. Is there a part of the heart which is refused? And let there be also responsivity here to this refusal. The responsivity be all around and within this refusal. This responsivity have a life of its own, totally free to go deeper and deeper to the core of all you are. Responsive inwardly and outwardly. As we allow this situation, all the energy and thoughts and impressions and feelings of this situation to rise up now. Letting it rise up around us. Offering it into a light above the head. Offering it to the responsivity of a great light above the head. Allowing to be received into this field of responsivity. Releasing it into this field of responsivity above and around us. As by degrees we remain in the simple responsivity of the body with all and anything that is left. As we breathe in, a present moment for real now. We breathe out any stress that's ready to be released. As we're coming back to the here and now, this is the moment where we say that thank you for joining us, to our friends on YouTube and elsewhere on the live stream. It's lovely to feel your presence still. But we're going to close the live stream now. You're very, very welcome to join us in the Zoom room on future occasions. Everybody's welcome for the second half. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. We'll be here next Wednesday, probably from a travel lodge somewhere in England, but we will be here. So we see you next Wednesday, feel you next Wednesday. And the rest of us, we shall take a 5-minute break and then we come back for sharing and stuff and the peace meditation.